Corona Diary. It is Saturday the 21st of March and it's my son's 18th birthday, so yeah, I am keeping this short and sweet today. I have thrown things on very quickly just so that I can be near my son as soon as possible. You will hear more about today in tomorrow's news. So today's news is what I'd ordinarily be sharing with you tomorrow, because I have to have the full length of the day to be able to pull it together and pull my thoughts together before I record it. So my son's birthday I will speak more about tomorrow. Also, I don't really want to sit here too long because I'll probably get emotional, so we're just going to get straight into it. For today, like I say, I'm going to be trying to spend some time with my son very shortly. Once I have got myself ready and everyone else is ready downstairs, they will be shutting themselves away in another room so that I can then come down the stairs into the back garden, get outside the back, text them to say I've shut the back door, and then they will all come out into the utility room, and then my son will be able to open cars and gifts out in the utility room so that I'm actually physically with him at the time. That is the way we are managing to get round it. So yeah, I won't be able to sit and eat his birthday dinner with him, but anyway. So, Friday's news, what I have seen, and actually, before I continue, I have noticed that people are thanking me for posting these videos. I noticed one message in particular when I woke up this morning from somebody thanking me for doing these videos because they struggle to watch the news. So to you, you know who you are. I shall continue to do these, and I'm glad that you find this easier. I'm struggling with watching the news. I've got to the state of thinking that I need to start limiting myself every day to what times I pay attention, because it's an emotional roller coaster. I have mental health issues and it's upsetting to me now. I went out for a walk yesterday for the first time outside my front door, and I was so petrified. I was shaking like a leaf the whole time I was out. So it wasn't a very pleasant experience. I'm glad I did it. I needed to, because my sugar levels were getting a bit high. So yeah, there was that. So, and of course I was on my own as well, which was horrendous. So at least I had my phone with me. That's main thing, and at least I managed to do it. So yeah, please don't worry, I was safe. I didn't go into any shops, and I won't be doing that for these 12 weeks, that's a definite. I won't be entering any shops or public spaces unless I absolutely have to, which would include going to the doctors to have my B12 injection when it's due. So let's just crack on with this news. So yesterday we saw the number of deaths rise another 39 more, which meant our total in the UK was up to 167. Yesterday they arrested a man for failing to self-isolate on the Isle of Man, which I thought would probably be coming, so it didn't surprise me to hear that news. Unfortunately, if people aren't going to listen, they're going to have to start doing that just to save the NHS, I suppose. And we have to think about those, you know, those people are doing extremely long hours right now, and they're exhausting themselves, they're barely getting any sleep, and then having to go back the next day. So I mean, those poor people, they are doing 12-hour shifts trying to go and get some shopping, and then there's nothing left too. It's no way of living for them right now, and they're going to work frightened that, you know, it could be them next, I suppose. There was a mention that social distancing needs to be in place for at least most of a year. So who knows what will happen with that. I'm keeping an open mind. I shall just see it as 12 weeks until we are otherwise told properly. I also heard some very disturbing news that London's Northwick Park Hospital, which is in the north of London, declared a critical incident after critical care unit hit its full capacity following a surge in cases, and I saw someone reporting from outside the hospital saying that there were no ambulances coming in, although there were a very small amount of ambulances going out. There was a lady being interviewed, and she was visiting her ex-husband who had been admitted the day before. He obviously had been confirmed, and she was visiting him, and whilst she was there visiting in the hospital, she was asked to vacate the premises because they had declared the critical incident. I think because of her age, they asked her to leave. I think she was in her 60s, and her daughter was still inside. So the poor woman, she was stood outside, hoping and praying that her ex was okay, would be okay, and that her daughter was going to be okay being in there as well. So that was quite sad. That wasn't too great. I did hear that 65,000 former nurses and doctors, who most of which I'd imagine are retired, are asked to join forces and return to duty again because of the shortages. So yeah, they want people that have retired in more recent times to go back because of their experience, and needs must. That's all I can say on that matter. Also, cafes, pubs, clubs, restaurants, nightclubs, theatres, cinemas and gyms have been told to shut. Last night they were told to shut as early as possible and not to reopen the next day, and I'd imagine that's an indefinite thing until they are told otherwise too. So yep, unfortunately that's going to hit young people quite hard. They will find it difficult because now they've got nothing to go outside for. I suppose other than just a walk, which to a lot of young people is probably not ideal, but yep, so there was that. And I also read that a UK consultant had said that this could be worse than that of Italy. We are likely to see somebody we know affected, and once it gets bigger, staff will have to make life and death decisions, some of which they will probably live to regret. Some things will probably haunt them, and allocating resources to only those deemed most likely to survive once intensive care overflow starts becoming too full and overflowing into corridors, they will be forced to allocate full resources to people most likely to survive. Others with additional medical problems will not receive them. So that's really harsh. So for people that have underlying health issues, if it gets to the state where those allocated areas are overflowing into corridors, they will be made to make the decision not to help the people with underlying health conditions, and to help the people that don't have underlying health conditions, which makes them more likely to survive. That was very difficult for me to digest yesterday. It was very, very upsetting. I'm sure it is to a lot of you. For a lot of you with ill health, I'm sure it's quite frightening to hear that, and it was to me. It's not something I really wanted to be hearing. I don't think anyone wants to hear anything like that. But they are doing their absolute best, and know that it's not easy for them to be making those decisions. They are saving lives. They are helping people to survive. So let's remember that although people are passing away, that's out of their control. They are doing their absolute best, and we have to be thankful for everything they are doing to protect the public and help them as best they can. So as I touched on, I went for my first walk outside yesterday because my sugar levels were slightly high. There were still a lot of people about, which surprised me. I expected it to be quiet. I went just before dinner. I had my dinner a bit later so that I could do this walk, in the hopes that people would be indoors having their meals too, which would make it less busy outside. Unfortunately for me, it was still really busy. It was difficult to keep the 2 metre distance while we're out, which we're advised to do, because there was just people everywhere. I mean, I did do my absolute best, and in most cases it was possible, but there was one occasion where it wasn't. I decided, walking along pavements, to walk by the curb as close to as I could, because if anyone came out of their front door, I was probably closer to being able to cross the road if needed be. And I know that sounds really harsh, but when these guidelines have been set in place, you don't really know, you know, it's just difficult, it really is. So it feels awkward having to do that, but I'm sure everyone around understands that if someone's got to do it, they've got to do it. It's just a precaution that I feel I need to be taking. So yeah, I was walking alongside a curb, and you've got to keep your eyes peeled and you've got to be alert the whole time you're out as well. And at this particular point, I got level with a car and hadn't realised that somebody was in the boot of this car, so I was stood virtually right next to this person that was leant over into their boot of their car. It was completely unavoidable. I just didn't see them. They didn't move from the house to the vehicle. It was a completely unavoidable situation. So you can do your absolute best out there, but unless you stay in your own home, you can't really avoid people completely. I mean, I live somewhere where there are a lot of corners, and you can't help you can't help walking past somebody around a corner. You can't know that anyone's coming round that corner. Unfortunately, there are very blind spots really close to where I'm living, so I can only do my best. But sadly, I do have to go out still. I have to make that choice to go out because of my overall health. I have weaker lungs because of pneumonia I've had before, and I have diabetes, so I do really have to get that fresh air. You know, I have been in the garden, and that's really not enough. I have a small garden, so I can't even walk up and down it. I mean, my patio at the top end of my garden is so narrow that walking backwards and forwards across it, as you turn, you only got a few paces before you're turning again, and eventually you do make yourself dizzy. So you can only do your best. I mean, I was kind of sidestepping backwards and forwards and walking around and walking forwards and then backwards, looking like I was doing a moonwalk across the garden, you know. So yeah, we've just got to do our absolute best at the moment. So that is the update for today. I'm not going to stick around much longer. This will be one of two today because the second video that you should have seen today, I struggled to upload, so that one will be before this one on Sunday. So take care of yourselves, be very safe, and I will update you with how things are going for me again tomorrow morning at 10 AM. Take care, guys. Bye.